it's Lauren. This is my first solo video on this channel and I'm very excited. As you read in the caption, this is my 2020 recap. I'm sure just like me, you've had probably the craziest year of your life, whether it was good or bad. A lot of people have struggled, a lot of people have grown and learned a lot, at least I have. So I want to go ahead and share with everybody what's been going on with me. So to start off, January. Everybody went into 2020. Yes, it's a new decade. We're gonna be excited. Wasn't quite it. I started off 2020 thinking it was gonna be great. And where I was at in life, at least, I was stuck at a job that I was miserable at. I had started applying to other jobs, I wanna say early 2019, but the right opportunity just never fell in my lap. So I was just stuck at a job that I was comfortable at. I wasn't getting any interviews or any bite from anywhere, so that was very discouraging. I thought that I would just sit there probably for another year in hopes that something would come out of it. And then on top of the job, you know, the love life situation, I was on and off with this F-boy, I like to call it, for probably a good year and a half. And I started out thinking 2020 is going to be the year that we cuff each other. And that's not what happened at all. It was about I wouldn't even say a week into 2020. We spent New Year's Eve together. Everything was good. Things took a left turn overnight and everything ended, which to me was great because honestly I should have ended things probably a year prior, but for some reason I was still holding on to it. But as soon as that ended, everything started changing for me. And when I say changing in the best way. The day that we ended everything, I got an email from the company that I had applied for in May of 2019 that I had always wanted to work for, asking if I'd come in for an interview. What? I knew right there he was probably the reason why I was getting held back from everything. So I knew from that moment on, my life was going to change. So within a couple of days after all of that stuff, David, my now boyfriend, reached out to me. We had met earlier, at the end of 2019, and we texted here and there, only hung out once. It didn't go anywhere, but he randomly texted me to check in, and we just started talking again from there. We started hanging out, and he was able to educate me on nutrition and fitness because, of course, he's an online coach. And along with that, I went through the interview process and I landed that job. And instantly, just going through that process, it was probably the most tedious process that I've ever been through. I had to go in front of a panel of multiple people, and it was very different from what I was used to. So I landed the job. David was there by my side as a friend to help me understand nutrition, understand fitness. I have been an active person probably for the last 3 years, and before I had my daughter, I was active before that. But did I have a clue at what I was doing? Not really. I thought if I'm just lifting weights or doing something, I'm gonna be in shape, but that's not the case at all. So he helped me get on my feet with tracking macros and flexible dieting. So I was super excited about that. And then also everything just opened up for me. I knew as soon as I got that new job, my life was going to change because I was no longer going to be stuck at a company that pretty much drove me into the ground. I should have left a long time ago. And my mental health improved, my physical health. I was more motivated to get in the gym, and it was just a really good start to the year, even though we were going through the beginning of a pandemic, which is kind of crazy. I saw that as an opportunity to really focus on myself. I was living at home at that time whenever the pandemic hit, but come April, I was able to move into my first apartment by myself with my daughter. So that was really exciting for me. I was able to create a different kind of environment, something that I've always wanted for myself. I was super happy at home, but there's just nothing like having your own space. So I was able to make my home what I wanted it to, make a routine and a life that I wanted with my daughter. It was gonna bring us closer together. So it was much needed, I should say. And it all started from January, and this is until April, and everything just started to fall into place. Something I learned whenever I had my own space was how to sit down and reflect on everything, how to get in touch with who I am as an individual, just because before that I never really had good alone time to where I can just sit with myself and also go through everything that I have gone through before in life. There was a point in, I'd probably say about May or June, I was able to face the trauma that I had experienced as a child, which I'm not going to get into that because it's a little too personal right now, but I went through a lot as a young kid, probably from the age of 6 or 7 until I graduated high school at 17. And I was able to face that trauma and see that it was actually affecting me more than I thought. And there are so many things that I was going through on a day-to-day basis that stemmed from that. And I was somebody who told myself going into high school, I'm pretty much over it. Like, it's fine. I've lived through it. Cool. But did I actually? No, I was able to just put it in a bottle in the back of my closet, basically, and not really just sit and accept and go through everything. And that's what honestly has helped me become the person that I am now. I've always been somebody who's been in a shell, and through that I learned why do I need to be somebody who's quiet? Why do I think that my voice isn't anything? I was somebody who thought being quiet was better than speaking up whenever I had something to say, just because I didn't want to inconvenience anybody. I was a huge people pleaser, and that honestly was probably the worst thing for me that I could have done, because I got taken advantage of so much, not just by people who I thought were my friends in the past, and then also I was somebody who thought male attention defined my self-worth. And I know a lot of ladies think that that's the case, and honestly, so far from it. And something that makes me really happy about this year is women are starting to realize they're pretty badass. They're very powerful, and men don't have anything to do with how great they are, how beautiful they are, how powerful they are. And that is one of the biggest lessons I took out of this year. With all of that self-discovery, I learned to be more open-minded with who I was as an individual, and of course, those around me. I learned that I can't just surround myself with people who I shouldn't say going anywhere, but didn't have like a drive or a passion to succeed and go further in life. Like, they stayed comfortable with where they're at. And I learned that you have to surround yourself with people who want to continue bettering themselves, who want to continue becoming the best versions of themselves, and those who can help grow. It's like you're sitting at a round table. You want to have, like for me, I want to have a bunch of queens at my table, and we can share ideas and help each other in different ways to accomplish whatever goals that we have, whether it's individually or maybe even as a group. And so that's something that has really opened my eyes, is if you want something, you have to go for it. You can't be scared. You can't let self-doubt or lack of self-confidence keep you from, or I should say holding you back, because that's something that I have dealt with. Even this right now, I've always been somebody who is like, I would love to be into some type of modeling, even if it's small, I'm not saying like TV commercial, but something like that. But I always had self-doubt of being self-conscious behind a camera. Ask my friends, ask David. David will straight up tell me, he's like, what are you doing? What are you doing behind the camera? Like, you need to be comfortable with yourself. You need to go practice in front of a mirror. Stop being in your head. Be yourself. And I have slowly began breaking out of that shell. I always lived thinking that other people's thoughts of me mattered. Why? I have no idea, because I'm a pretty badass person, and everybody around me who loves me sees that. And those who don't think that, what difference does that make in my life? Are they affecting me personally? Absolutely not. So that is something that has really, it's been a little bit challenging along with everything else, but I learned that you have to learn to be uncomfortable. You have to learn to overstep the boundaries that you previously set for yourself, and not be scared to take risks and just put yourself out there. Again, my voice, I need to be able to use my voice whenever I want to. And it's okay to tell people no. As well as that is, you can call people out if I'm somebody who has been manipulated time and time again from my past relationship, and it's always been my fault for everything, when really I have nothing to do with it. I'm the one who has been able to put up with so much while getting very little in return. So I have built the strength within myself to be like, it's your fault, or this falls on you, not me. Keep my name out of it. And thinking about how I was this time last year, I would never be able to say like, no, that was you, sweetheart, not me. Or even just being real with people and calling them out on their shit. Like, it's honestly probably one of the best feelings, especially coming from me who's 27 years old and has never been able to do that before. Not only small personal victories that I have overcome this year and grown, was also my parenting. My parenting has changed so much, but in the best way. I hate to admit, but I used to be the parent that was wanting to be my daughter's friend and want to just constantly shower her in love and just coddle her, just because that is what I lacked as a child from my mom growing up. And I learned that I had to be strong for her. I have to be this figure that when she's older, I can sit down and be like, hey, this is why I was the way I was. So I've learned to be that strong parent. So whenever she's older, she can look at me and be like, thank you, Mom. That's exactly what I needed. And aside from that, just it's been crazy seeing just the change with her. Even though I'm the one who changed my style of parenting, it has helped balance her mentally and physically so much. And if she's balanced, I'm balanced. And so it's been really challenging, I should say. David has experienced it with me, going from trying to be her friend to trying to be that tough parent. And I think a lot of people think it's okay to be your child's friend. And honestly, you need to be a parent first. And that is something that I've learned, because now she respects me so much more, and I'm able to actually do more fun things on another level with her, have those conversations with her, have an open line of communication, be able to express her feelings to each other. Because before, I would just constantly hold her. She was always getting picked up, always being given something from somebody. And so I'm trying to help her understand the reality of life, and she starts kindergarten next year. So this year has helped me significantly change what needed to be changed in order to get her set up for school. And whenever she goes out in the real world and mom or dad's not around to hold her hand through everything. On top of growing that relationship, I was able to grow a relationship with David. We had been on and off this year. He's been by my side since the beginning, helping me find myself and grow. And I'm somebody who always wanted to be a girlfriend, eventually a wife. I, just like every other female, you want to be loved, you want to find the love of your life. And in due time, I was able to find that in David. So something I learned, especially now that him and I are together, is everything that I allowed myself to go through in the past, complete bullshit. And I now see other people that I know who were just like me, they're continuing to go through that stuff. And I just want to stop them and be like, hey, you don't need that person's attention. You don't need to sit around and just text all these guys just to make sure that you feel good about yourself, as well as your physical appearance. Like, women think that they have to show off their body, constantly be made up, but David's always telling me, you look better without makeup, you don't need to wear makeup. I can look like a mop and he still calls me beautiful. And that's something that I've always wanted in somebody. And so throughout this year, I found the love of my life, and it's been really eye-opening to see how I allowed other men define my self-worth, or how they let me think that my self-worth was as low as it was, because he David treats me like a damn queen, okay? And I have deserved this all along, but I sold myself short, just like a lot of women who are doing that for themselves right now. And the best advice I have for that is just focus on yourself. You don't need to be texting people. Get off dating apps. I used to be on them and it was a freaking nightmare. I have so many stories. Well, I shouldn't even say so many, but one story in specific that I'm just like, why would I even allow myself to go through that? And like, you don't need to be talking to people constantly. Talk to your girlfriends. Have a strong group of friends where y'all can sit there and talk about life, things that y'all want to manifest together or separately, people to build you up, not just the same, hey, how are you? What do you do for work? It's BS, it's bullshit. And a lot of women just need to learn, you will find your person, and it comes from you loving yourself enough to find that person. And that has been one of the most rewarding things this year, is not only building my relationship with my daughter, but also finding the love of my life and finding somebody who loves my daughter as much as I had ever wanted somebody to. Once David and I got together, my life changed completely, but not in a negative way at all. We were able to sit down and talk about what goals we have for ourselves, what goals we have together as a couple, things that we want to see in our future. And with that, it kept us busy. And of course, there was a lot of change in my life. And one of the biggest things I've learned lately, not everybody is going to support you in the changes that you have in your life. For me, I went from spending any extra time that I had with my friends constantly. I was constantly out with somebody, usually going out to eat, just hanging out maybe at the pool. And whenever him and I got together, we just started grinding. We were either traveling out of town between Dallas and Austin, or even going out of town too, out of state, and just trying to get stuff together for 2021 and things that we want to do for ourselves, things that like we've dreamed of doing. And people that I thought would support me in my happiness haven't supported me in my happiness. So I've learned that there's going to be people who don't accept change in your life, but honestly, it's your life. What are they doing? How are they affecting your everyday life? Maybe a phone call, maybe a hangout here and there, but if they're not the one you're laying next to in bed every night, their opinion shouldn't matter. So I've learned not everybody is going to be there for you and support you, and that's okay, because you have to do what's best for yourself. And also, it's your life. Do I have to say it 10 more times? It's your freaking life. So it's been one challenging year, to say at the least. And with that, and just always grinding and having goals for ourselves, we're just striving to do our best, trying to stay balanced with my daughter, us being in the gym, our day-to-day jobs. And he has helped me I'm still finding my purpose, but he is helping me through different books understand life at another level, of being able to understand the people that I'm surrounding myself with, people I come into contact every day. I've become more outgoing. I've learned that networking is extremely important, not just for work because I'm in marketing, but also in your personal life, because you want to be able to surround yourself with people who understand you, are on the same grind as you, and just want to continue bettering themselves. So that pretty much wraps up my year. It's been one hell of a year, but honestly the best year of my life, and I wouldn't change anything about it. Even all the downs, they're what shot me back up to finding myself, learning that I am powerful again. And I'm just really excited to see where 2021 takes me. I have some goals, which you'll see in another video that David and I sit down and talk about, but there's some things that I want to do that I've always been scared because I've been in a shell, and I have a good feeling about 2021. So we'll see you next year.